Hare Krishna, Pharm D colleagues and friends. Today, a presentation on how to present our clerkship, internship, or an SOAP or a KS, whatsoever it is, from second years when we are going to go to practice in the hospital and you are going to go to take seminars, you are going to give a presentation on the case that you have taken on all those things. 50% is what you do, how you do, and 50% is how you present what you have done. Right, so how to present your work? This is a model template for the Pharm D students from the second year, especially for people who are presenting their clerkship and internship. Now, in this discussion, the main point, the first point, and the foremost point is one should practice right, because practice does not make man perfect. The right practice makes man perfect. So make at least 15-20 presentations, present to your classmates, take up seminars, you yourself present some topics and come out of all the stage fear. Know what PowerPoint is, know what PowerPoint has got to offer you in terms of enabling your presentations in a better manner. There are many tools available in the Microsoft PowerPoint presentation which will be of great help to you. Only those things can be used, understood, and presented well when you have the right practices. And so, from the second year, please practice. People who are watching this in the second years, third years, please do make the presentations and utilize all the tools available in the presentations to make a short, sweet, and crisp presentation. They say KISS is the principle of making a presentation. Keep it short and stupid. This is the KISS principle, right? So, keep it short and simple is something the others also say about. So, in this discussion, we'll be discussing on the do's and don'ts in a presentation. A model presentation will be discussed, and the right practices while making the presentation will also be discussed. Right, we move on. What should be the introductory slide in your presentation? The pharmacist's job is communication management. Unless you are confident with your language and job related knowledge, presentation can be a disaster. If you try to fake, if you try to present something which you have not done, if you try to make up, cope up on the day of examination, or while presenting it to a set of clinicians, or to the when you are educating the paramedical staff like the nurses or others, when you are in a discussion, you will not be able to fake it. So please be confident on what you are talking, the knowledge part of it and the skill part of it as a pharmacist, and in terms of communication, be confident of your language. So the language is a very important tool. The man who knows more than one language is equal to more than one person, right? So the more languages you know, the more number of people you are. As an individual, you become a group. That's the strength of knowing languages. And so don't get limited by your mother tongue or a regional language. Please be conversant and fluent with English, because your job territory could be anything. You will be working with a multifaceted team. So English, another national language like Hindi, the regional language maybe Tamil, Malayalam, whatsoever it is, your mother tongue, as well as learning another international language. All these things will complement to your job prospects also. So in the introductory slide, you will be mentioning which college you belong to, which university, what is the purpose of the presentation, what is the roll number, the examination details, why you are submitting this presentation, to whom you are submitting this, all these things. Remember, before getting into the presentation or making the presentation itself, things that you don't know, you should not put in the presentation. That does not mean you edit things that you don't know and cut off everything, whatever you have written without knowing. The idea is to please know what you are writing and have all the explanations, abbreviations, and expansions ready, right? So, every word, every sentence in the presentation that you're going to put should be following a SMART principle: specific for S, measurable M, achievable A, R relevant, T time bomb. So smart, your presentation should be smart. When we say you are smart, you must be smart. It means that you should be specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time bomb. So when you call a patient for a review, when you say in a slide that a patient has to come for a review, so when is the review? 7 days. Which is the date? You can mention those things for clarity to the patient. So there is time bomb. Specific. Now take this medication as prescribed. No, This is prescribed for 7 days, take this for 7 days. Measurable. How am I going to understand that you have adhered to it? I am giving you a chart. Please fill the chart, and I want to measure. When you come back, you bring the strip so that I can, calculate the tablets that are available and understand that whether you have achieved it or not. And something that which is achievable. When we say, reduce your weight, decrease alcohol intake, cut down your smoking, and all those things. Now, are these achievable in a period of 7 days? Are these achievable in a period of 30 days? Am I helping him to achieve all those things? Am I going step by step? All these are the questions. So be very specific, and you should be relevant to your subject which you are discussing, right? And when you are presenting a clerkship or an internship or a residentship or whatsoever it is, please understand the difference on what should be presented on a clerkship presentation, an internship presentation, and a residentship presentation. What is the difference between clerkship, internship, and residentship? Know the basic medical degrees qualifications like MS, MCH, MD, DM, DNB. What this mean? And please write the qualification of the doctors involved, the paramedical staff involved, their designations in the hospital, and all those things. So do at least one presentation a month from year two of Pharm D to overcome communication and state fear issues. Unless you face your fears are not going to leave you alone, right? So please make a presentation of what you have done. It may be a subject topic or whatsoever it is, or a case presentation, or whatsoever you are trying to practice in the hospital. You can present that to your colleagues and classmates to come out of the stage fear part of it. Now, when we talk of the hospital, the photos of the hospital, the drug information center in which you are present, the pharmacy where you are going to dispense, the ICU, the wards, any case discussion photos that you have presented in the past, all these things, you can have some snaps ready so that you can add some spice to your presentation. And any interesting case or interesting happening in the hospital where you are allowed to take a photograph, you can add those things if it is permitted as per the ethics committee rules and other things of the hospital and of the college. Now, department wise doctor list as per the board in the reception or in the entry point as it is displayed, those things can be put as one of the additive photos that in your presentation. Don't fake or copy from others, take the pictures for you customized. Like, you are present, you are counseling to a patient, so you must be putting your photo. Please don't take it from someone else or from Google that someone else is counseling someone else. No, not like that. You should go with your own presentations. So these are things which will be good memory for you also in future. And when you present it, you will have a connectivity with the reality. So these are those things which can add spice to your presentation. Now, contents page, why all this have been put over here is like, you can use all these things, use graphics, use shapes, use smart art, use charts, not just arrow diagrams, right? So from the insert menu of the PowerPoint making home screen, you can insert whatever is required here. You can actually write things in a graphical form, which came down, what went up, which is high, which is low, what is low, the medication part of it, the department icons, do's don'ts, like that. So you can put more graphics to it. It need not be a regular presentation just with one heading and one body part of it, you are blah 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 discussing all your cases. No, it can be a very very spicy and an interesting presentation by putting all these things into the presentation. So you need to, in the content page, you need to mention which departments, what timelines you have worked, the overview of it, the department wise activities what you have done. We will see that in detail what needs to be written over there. The activity presentation in a table format, with the slide numbers, SOAP, slide 3 to 6, 3 to 10, medication history interview, slide 4 to 5, like that. You have to mention the slide numbers in a table format. So what you can include is SOAP, medication history interview, ADR, drug interaction, medication error, patient counseling, whatever other activities you have done in the hospital, other activities done in the community, other activities done in the college. No, your interesting experiences, your learnings, how you have added value to the profession, to the job after doing your internship or clerkship. Have you earned any patent, or have you given a solution to a particular problem? What makes you feel proud of as a PharmD, as a pharmacist, and the other additional skills for job readiness? No, an English speaking course, a Hindi course, a clinical trial course, or whatever it is, that makes you job readiness, gives you job readiness. Last, acknowledgement, questions, and thank you slide. So this should be the basic contents what should be present in your presentation. Now, as we saw, the departments and the timelines, from which date to which date, which department, and who is the clinical preceptor, a doctor with qualification, specialty designation, MD, DM, medicine, chief consultant, senior consultant, head of department, internal medicine, right? MD, DM, nephrology, MS, MCH, urology, surgeon, right? So like that, and the academic preceptor, your professor or the preceptor who comes from the college, who works with you all the day out over there. So that, and put a total, whatever you do, the total number of days, the departments, total number of departments, and the number of things that you have done. The total should always be there, and this kind of graphics can be used in the presentation while moving out from the slide to the other slide, the transition thing. Department wise activities overview, again, serial number, how many departments you have worked, how many in every department, how many cases you have taken in the history interview or the profile interview, how many counseling aids you have created for the hospital, how many charts, paramedical aids programs that you have done for the hospital, how many SOAP cases you have done in every department individually, number of journal club presentations, number of medication errors identified, number of drug comparisons or pharmacoeconomic activities, or any other activity that you have done, please list it over here and put the total of all these things, right? And bring the counseling aids and journal club PDFs and presentations and the charts made, or take the photographs and you can paste it over here in the respective slides when you are presenting it, or you can put it as the last 4 or 5 slides in your presentation. So these are very important to understand what you have done department wise, what you have done, and please ensure to put a total over here, right? So need not be that everybody does only 12 or 10 or 5 or 8. Please don't as a class follow like that, because in internship, in clerkship, probably you are exposed to the department, you are working as a normal employee of the hospital, and so you will be seeing the different number of cases. Don't limit yourself that everybody should take 5 of that, 20 of this, 10 of that, 8 of this. No, not like that. It can change. The numbers can change from person to person. So don't limit yourself to a particular number. But caution, before doing any case analysis, please focus here. Carry the case forms for your presentation. What is mentioned in the PPT should be available as written form in hand. Suppose you are presenting a particular case, please bring the SOAP sheet of that. Please bring the, if it is medication error, please bring the, have the medication error in your hands, so that you can present what you have collected and what you have presented. Both of these things in writing as well as in the presentation should be there, because it is required to understand and correct if any mistakes are there, or to cross check whether any mistakes have happened or not. And in case any doubts or queries comes during the presentation, we can cross check it with the hard copy that is available over there. The most important thing to any Pharm D is the biggest and the best and the first and the most important advice is, you as a Pharm D, as a clinical pharmacist, is here for providing solutions in the hospital, not just to find problems alone. Problems do happen, mistakes do happen. There is an administration error, there is a medication error, there is a prescription error, there is an error which should not happen again. But how have you solved the problem? How have you ensured that the problem do not arise again? How have you helped the paramedics to solve the problem that you have identified? How did you communicate it to the authorities to create a protocol so that it do not happen again? The ultimate aim is patient care, right? So just don't find mistakes alone. When you find a mistake, find out the reasons, come out with options, give a solution, and those out of those solutions, pick the solution and suggest that this is what I suggest, right? So you have to connect and relate the information to find the problem. From the past medication history, has the current problem arise? And in the current problem, when a medication is prescribed, did it complicate or does it complicate the past medication history? Doctors do not have time. They are overburdened, and the nurses are having 10 to 20 patients to take care of in a ward. So you will have to find out and observe like a lighthouse. When you stand atop a lighthouse, you can understand where there is traffic congestion, and the lighthouse brings the ship to the shore. right? So it gives the right direction. You have to behave like a lighthouse, not just saying that don't go in south, there is a problem. So you say don't go in south, there is a problem, come towards northeast and there is a solution. And why, how you can come to northeast, I will give you these suggestions and options. And be practical when you give your suggestions. Don't give an impossible advice, right? When the patient is having a hemoglobin of say 10 or 11 and they are prescribed with iron syrup or something, and when it is not going to be a very serious case, just don't suggest that you have to check your hemoglobin every 10 days once after taking this syrup. You have to check your HbA1c every 1 month once. Now, HbA1c tells the 3 months average. So, 1 month once, is it really required? That has to be seen. You have to, this drug creates a drug interaction can have an impact in the liver. So, liver function tests have to be performed every week, every month, and like that. See, when the patient is hospitalized, all this is possible. But when the patient is homebound and when the patient is economically from a backward background, do you expect them to do all these things? So please understand the problems of the patients and give customized solutions for the patient, right? You are not here to just find the problems and give some suggestions and get away. Anybody can give suggestions. You know that advisors are the most common free thing which is available, right? And there is nothing called a free lunch, so everything comes with a tag. Please try to understand that you need to be practical and don't give any impossible advices like taking kiwi juice, taking tofu in India, right? So you have to talk here, with what's available in the present situation for the patient. You cannot give impossible advices, right? Adequate data is essential. So in every patient, in every case, please take the height, weight, BMI, past history of diseases, past history of medication, number of years by in which they are suffering in the past, problem, number of years they are taking medication, what is the disease wise habits, what are the social habits, do they smoke, do they take tobacco, they drink more tea, they drink more coffee, they cannot live without coffee, allergies in the past, their beliefs, their likes, their dislikes, their food preferences, their exercise routine, etc. are all important, because you cannot convince a patient to do an exercise who do not believe in an exercise or like an exercise. So it has to be a step by step approach. You cannot say daily exercise for 30 minutes to somebody who never exercises, right? So be practical, don't give an impossible advice. De addiction within 7 days, de addiction within 30 days, decrease your alcohol by half within another 30 days, decrease your number of cigarettes from 20 to 5 within this month. No, that's not possible. You will have to be a mentor and give ways and solution on how to arrive at those things, right? So you are not here to just give an advice. Don't give an empty advice. How to ensure that it gets implemented? Advisors are, that's all available everywhere. Everybody tells today, even the public says, don't smoke, don't drink alcohol. So how are we different? We are different by mentoring the patient, by helping the patient with an aid, and giving a assurance that I am going to support you in doing this, right? So even for a ADR or for counseling, take all the data, give practical inputs, not just advices. Assist with aids practically, in the sense how they can implement it, how you can monitor it, how you can mentor them to follow those things and come out of their particular problem which they are facing, right? We are seeing that, only when the SOAP of the cases are taken, we take all the details. Otherwise, for an ADR, for a drug interaction, for a medication counseling, or for history, we don't take all the details like BMI, height, weight. Many of the times these are all missing, but these are vital data because the dose of the drugs are prescribed based on the BMI, right? You cannot ignore the BMI, you cannot ignore the past medication history, you cannot ignore the social habits. When the person is consuming alcohol consistently with the drugs that you are giving, maybe there are some interactions and it may not work properly or it may work properly. When the patient is on a high lipid diet, it would differ. When the patient is not exercising at all, it would be different. When the patient do not like to take a 1 gram tablet and she is just throwing it away, and not informing anyone else, the drug will not act at all. So these are things that we need to understand, that data is strength, and the data which is complete is what is strength. Incomplete data is a weakness. So we cannot decide things or give solutions without having proper data. The data helps us take 360-degree information with common sense, presence of mind, right attitude, knowledge, skills, practices. there comes a clinical eye to the pharmacist. Say, the doctors who are experienced for 25 to 30 years have this clinical eye. They can just see the pulse, they can check, they can do the physical examination, and they can somewhat come to a conclusion that 40 to 50% that this is the problem with which this person is suffering from. Now, how does that quality come to a doctor? That comes just because of right practices and the number of patients that which he sees, the experience that which he sees. So you will have to take more number of cases, present more number of cases, get corrected more number of time. And so then, and one more thing, whenever you talk about a SOAP, whenever you talk about say anything, you will have to discuss about the therapeutic protocol to manage the disease, which we are not doing. We have to put up the protocol completely, and then we have to discuss what has happened in the case. Did they follow the therapeutic protocol? Did they go for the first line drug, second line drug? What is right? What is wrong? All these things have to be seen. What is missing? What is not missing? What is overdone? What is underdone? All these things. But where the aim is patient care. The aim is patient care, not mistakes finding, not problem finding. Right now, we come on to the SOAP part of it, which is the first point in your entire clerkship or internship presentation. Even from the second years or third years, we will have to be conversant with SOAP. Now, as I said, in SOAP, please compare the standard treatment guidelines versus the treatment given and notify the deviations, if any, in the assessment and in the intervention. Please do a 360-degree analysis to relate all the past, present issues and connect and clarify based on evidence. Now, you are not saying it as per you are now not eligible to give an opinion because you are not an expert in that area, right? So when you do more number of researches, when you publish more number of contents, when you are experienced with more number of patient profiling and counseling and other things, when you have a clinical eye in practice for at least 5 to 10 years, probably when you specialize into an area like an oncology pharmacist, an ICU pharmacist, an emergency care pharmacist, or first aid pharmacist, like that, you will have an experience with relation to that area where you can give an expert opinion. But till then, you will not be able to give an expert opinion, right? So or everything, the entire medicine is based on evidences. You are not saying anything, right? What you are saying is all from the evidences, as per the evidences, as per the given guidelines, as per the publication that has happened in the past, as per the epidemiological data. Like this, we will have to mention, and we will have to mention all the references in either Harvard style or in Vancouver style, which we will have to mention properly, right? Any one style has to be followed from starting till end of the presentation. Now, all details of BMI, admission, discharge date, everything is needed. The patient is there in the hospital for 12 days and I record only for 6 days. And I say, I have not gone and practiced over there after 6 days. I got my department change. No, sorry. If you're interested, you will have to go back and you should be like a curious crow. You cannot just leave it half the way and say that I have not done it. Then you have not done your job. You have not executed your role and responsibility in a proper manner. You have been irresponsible. So as a pharmacist, you cannot say like that. Even as a common human being, you will not be able to say like that, right? So differentiate the high and low values, relate those high and low values to the condition and link. That is like, this is low, that is it, finished. No, not like that. What could be the reason? From where did you get the data that because these values are low, because these values are high? Based on which references you decide that this is the condition? And with the elimination criteria, like, when we come to a confirmed diagnosis, there could be some diseases where two or three signs and symptoms are going to overlap and it may be the same. How are you going to say that it is this disease and it is not those other two diseases, right? So we need to understand how are we going to eliminate the overlapping diagnosis and come to a confirmed diagnosis part of it. Give references, give evidences from authentic journals. Don't put your opinion. You are not an expert yet. So, same condition with similar symptoms, how to eliminate and arrive at the diagnosis. All evidence based medicines and your views are not to be put over there. Your view is what is the evidence based medicine view, right? So, not necessarily every case should have a problem or issues that you identify. What's missing? Why is it important? You need to give a justification. Just saying that, they have not done this test, they have not measured the serum ferritin, this has happened. Now, why you feel it is important? You need to give a justification, right? You need to have an answer. You need to have an evidence for that. A 360-degree analysis can get you all answers. Don't isolate a drug interaction. Don't isolate an ADR. Don't isolate a medication error. Please do a 360-degree analysis, relate it with what has happened, and ensure that you give options and solutions why it will not happen further based on your suggestions. And then you give your suggestions with evidences. Now, practical counseling with charts made for the patient in customized manner, no general advices. Take fruits, drink water, drink adequate water, do exercise, decrease alcohol, walk for 3 kilometers a day, take adequate sleep, do yoga. I'm very sorry, you should not do those things. First of all, before starting counseling, you have to mention one line. Have you taken the consent of the patient to counsel? Are they in a mood to listen to you? If then, yes. If not, no. I have not done the counseling and I spoke to the caregiver and I left the patient. I did not counsel. So that is very important. And then in the pharmacist intervention, need not be just a fault finding exercise, right? I, as a pharmacist, have found out that this and all those things. No, sorry. Ultimately, the patient has to get the right medication at the right time and the right dose, and the right treatment to make their life happier and healthy, right? So when to come back with all details for a review, what details, what is the date, what is the time, which doctor, in case of any query, who should be contacted. Everybody writes contact your doctor if you have any problem. No, then why that there is a clinical pharmacist over there, right? You cannot say like. Now, don't copy paste the counseling from any foreign website. Tofu, salmon, tuna, kiwi are not available in India. Be very practical. Don't say that I have told them, you for an heart disease you have to take salmon, tuna, which contains more EPA, DHA, and you have to. Now, what is salmon and tuna? I know kende, keluthi, or iramine, iramine, all these things. So I don't know what is tofu, what is all this kiwi to a person who has not seen many kinds of fruits across the globe. So understand that you are, for that patient, are you giving the right advice for that patient? It is not for the disease, the disease in that patient, the drug in that patient, the diet in that patient. So with every patient coming from a different socio-cultural, economic background, education background, occupation background, all this emotional background, you cannot just give a general advice saying that, take this, take that, don't do's and don'ts and completed it. No, it's not like that, right? So next we move on to the medication history interview. History means everything. We have to take family history, parent, grandparent, sibling, children. Did anybody have that kind of a disease? Is there any history in the family of such kind of thing? Social history, food and other lifestyle habits. As I said, alcohol can interact with the diseases, with the drugs. Alcohol might complicate. The patient might drink, they might not tell you. So how to find it out from the family members? Am I getting the right information? Personal histories, beliefs, practices, what other OTC medication that they are taking. See, in all SOAP, in all these things, the one major common thing which we miss is the OTC practices. What other over-the-counter drugs, drugs that they are taking, the allergy history, the medical history, the surgical history, the medication history. Medication history, for every disease, the medication history differs. See, diabetes might have been diagnosed before 10 years, whereas coronary artery disease might have been diagnosed before 5 years, and varicose veins could have been diagnosed before 1 year, and now she has come for a foot ulcer. So now this entire thing, the timelines are very important, and we need to understand it separately, and the medicines that they are taking separately, because they might have gone to three different clinicians, four different clinicians who do not have an idea of what they are taking in the other side of it, right? So they might be taking two drugs for the same indication, but the clinicians might not know, and we are the right people to understand that. So medication history has to be separately listed and mentioned, and adherence history. Are you taking the medicines properly? Are you compliant? Are you adhering to what is being told? Are you adhering to the diet what is being told? What are your practices? And then the current complaints and how it is related to the past. Extrapolation of the past to the present to the future, and the links between the past, present, and what can happen in the future has to be established. So missing things of past, the reviews, follow-ups, the medications, the conditions, two three clinicians, which clinician treated them. There might be a nephrologist, there might be a cardiologist, there might be a physician involved. So please, in a country like India, where the culture is multifaceted, the beliefs are multifaceted, the patient might have experienced two three different hospitals, doctors, and then have come to this hospital where you are practicing. So please understand, you are giving an important note to the clinician or the paramedics on your observation. So you have to be cautious. And when you give this caution note to the treating clinician, It's going to be a very, very, very vital information for the clinician to take a decision, right? So please put whatever is possible, whatever can be taken out as data with the 360-degree analysis, common sense, presence of mind, put an highlight on what the clinician or the paramedic should know when they meet the patient in person, right? Now, when we talk about the ADR, what is the specific scale that we are using? What is the software that we are using? How are we reporting it? Are our ADRs getting recorded? Is it getting uploaded to the central portal where all the ADRs are getting monitored? Do I follow a particular algorithm? How to regularize this? How to educate the medical fraternity about the ADRs, and what are the common ADRs in the past for the common drugs that are seen? What is the difference between an adverse effect, side effect, and allergy? This is common sense. What is the difference between adverse effect, side effect, and allergy? Please do have a medical dictionary in your hand from year 2. That's what I keep telling to people. Have the medical dictionary. Check the blood pressure for everyone whom you come across in your family. Check the BMI for everyone whom you come across. These are all practices, right? You are just going to practice as much as possible. Get some inhalers, get the spacers, get everything. Try to practice it yourself. The insulin pen, or when you operate it, you will be understanding what are the difficulties, what are the problems, and that too when an elderly patient operates it, how the sites have to be decided, where to start, where to end, how to go clockwise when an insulin pen is used, which are the sites to be injected. All these things we need to be very clear. Of course, we will discuss all these things when we come to the patient counseling part of it. Now we are discussing about the ADR, how to classify it, how are we presenting it, how did the ADR present itself, was it a predictable or a preventable ADR, what is the classification, what are the possible solutions, how the ADR was seen, how it, when it was seen, when the drug was started, where, why, what, when, how, all these details have to be put. So you can use the Ranjo's algorithm or the adverse drug reaction probability scale. A by method, you need to stick to something so that the causal relationship can be understood and an untoward clinical event can be avoided. Right, and you can assign a probability scores to that, and how you can give information to the clinicians and to the central body which monitors all these things, so that you can add value to the centralized knowledge that is available. Now we move on to the drug interactions. Know the common drug interactions of drugs used in your hospital. Give examples, classify and present with the solution. Now, two drugs are interacting, and so replace the drug, change the drug. It is not the only option. See, when the number of drugs we don't have a luxury of having a library of drugs for each and every indication. They are all chemicals, and we need to understand that there will be interactions. And so, how do we bring down the drug interaction? What all possible options are available? Don't suggest an impractical intervention. Don't check the drug interaction for two drugs prescribed at different times. The drug that was prescribed in the hospital interacting with the drug that is prescribed in the discharge summary. Right? So you cannot have these two drugs interact. Well, 6 days they were in the hospital. After 6 days they are discharged, and after discharge 1 or 2 days they are given some medication. That two medications are interacting. No, you cannot do it like that. So based on the class, give the practical monitoring which is feasible, right? How to monitor if I get a DA, and economically viable and adherable solution. What do I need to do when I face an DA? Is it going to be like this? So I need to drink more water to avoid this DA. I need to keep myself hydrated. I should not do these things. I should not consume alcohol. We don't check the interaction of alcohol with the drug and other things. So we can check that also in the drug interaction, because if the patient is consuming alcohol, we have to caution him that this drug will interact with the alcohol. But I have not seen any case presented by my students where it says that alcohol is being consumed, and so I'm putting this drug under alcohol, and then I'm checking the interaction, and then I'm going to present it. Alcohol is a chemical, the drug is a chemical, they are also interacting. So discuss if you observed any DA and its manifestation in a patient, and give practical solutions. Like when you talk of thrombophlebitis, when you talk of something else, take a picture of it and just put it. Not with respect to drug interaction I'm talking about, with anything. When you put up a picture, when the pictures talk more than what you are going to talk, so your colleagues can also understand what you are trying to talk about. It will be an education for someone else. Medication error, as usual, again classify the medication error, give reasons. One reason I am seeing again and again for all the medication error, many types of medication error: doctor is overburdened, nurse is overburdened, pharmacist was overburdened with the workload. They please don't give such kind of reasons, because we are getting paid, and we are in the healthcare services, and we are not here to give reasons for our mistakes. When we offer reasons, our performance goes down. Please understand, promises are promises, excuses are excuses. Reasons are reasons, and performance is the only reality. We are in healthcare. Do I agree to a doctor that by mistake I have cut the main artery or vein of a patient? Do we accept it? Can we accept it? What is medical negligence? Please, we are here to take care of the patient, and the patient's life is very much important. And when they are overburdened, we have to find out the reasons for overburden. The workload has to be decreased, and they have to be remaining focused, because one life is one life. You cannot bring it back. Time don't come back. Life does not come back. So please don't give this kind of reasons. If at all that is the reason, it has to be reported properly to the HR department, and you need to decrease the workload with the management, right? And how long did the error occur? How was it found? When was it found? What is the damage that has happened already? And what is the photos? Where are the photos of that? Because it should not get repeated. We need to document it adequately. Yes, I have done like this. I found it like this. This has happened. I have the proof. I am going to change it. So, what methods you took to stop the damage? When was that implemented? Date and time. How did it get corrected? How did you ensure that it will not happen again? What is the permanent solution? Did you make a protocol? Is there a system? So, did you take any measure to ensure preventing such errors again? And how did you do that? What was the measure? How was the person who is responsible for such error educated, warned, cautioned, or punished if required? Right? It's the same for everyone. We do a mistake, we need to be educated, we need to be warned, cautioned, corrected, or punished. Right? And background of the person and the error in other wards of the hospital. Similar errors, does it occur? Does it lead to a need of a training program in the hospital? What needs to be done? So those things have to be assessed as a manager of the hospital, as a manager of the healthcare facility, not just as a pharmacist that I found out a medication error, I have just written it down and I have presented it in 2 slides and gone. No, sorry, what is your value addition? So that people will come back to you tomorrow saying that, oh, that guy was nice, and when he was present, the errors were less. Next is patient counseling. Did you get the patient consent before the counseling? Was the patient in a mood to listen to you? Did they have any problem with any dosage form or food or therapy? Listening is also communication. Most of the problems will be solved when people listen. And when the doctor has got more patients, he is not able to listen. You have to be the person who listens, right? So please listen. Need not follow the typical disease based, diet based, and drug based route again and again. Right? There are many other ways. Patient counseling of if kids or geriatrics, to the caregiver, the family counseling for the patient support. All these things are there. And in de-addiction counseling, don't just say leave smoking, take nicotine gums, decrease alcohol. If it was so easy, why should they continue? Some people want to discontinue. They go with the self-will that I will not take it, but they fail again. The problem with addiction counseling, de-addiction counseling, with smoking, alcohol, whatever drugs and other things are, you need to have a constant mentor who assists, who helps, who talks to them whenever they need assistance. And then it's an emotion, and you need to handle those emotions so that they come down from counseling. It's not so easy just to say that, decrease alcohol, decrease smoking, take nicotine gums. Based on how many cigarettes, how many nicotine gums have to be taken. What strength of nicotine gums have to be taken? What are the side effects of taking nicotine gum? When you take nicotine gums and smoke, what happens? When you take nicotine gums and take alcohol, what happens? So, what needs to be done has to be explained in a proper manner with a separate sheet, and you need to publish that sheet here. Saying that decrease alcohol, decrease that, take this. No, sorry, that's not going to. You are not giving solution. You are giving advices. Implementable, practical, SMART, specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, time bound. Is it all those things? No. So please try to understand that you have to put the smart filter in every slide, every word, every sentence that you make, right? Assisting them to cope up by giving solutions, by giving practical. You forget to take medicines, I'll give you a chart, please write it down and send a photo to me by WhatsApp every day, every time you take. And when you don't send it, I will give you a reminder. So see, many a times you need not intervene, but the problem gets solved because somebody is there to support me. That is the psychology, right? How to use the inhaler demonstration. You make a video by demonstrating it to the patients. You make a video of yourselves. Keep those videos ready. and send those videos again and again to the patient. Can't you make an inhaler usage video? Can't you make a insulin pen usage video? Can't you put it in the regional language and send it to your patients if required? Are you not supposed to do that? Are you here to help the patient come out of it by doing all those things? An audio message would be sufficient to support the patient or the caregiver, right? So explanation of a practical solution to the problem faced by the patient is needed. A food chart customized to the patient, saying that don't take that, don't take this, don't. In Tamil Nadu, if I am taking upma, idli, sambar, vada, I have to mention it in those lines. If I am taking a full square meals in the noon, I have to mention it. If I'm in North India, I have to talk about roti, chapati, tawa pulao, and all those things. I have to talk about that. If I'm going to follow a different diet of sandwiches and pastas and noodles and other thing, I have to talk about that. So please make a food chart for the patient. That is nothing general. Every patient is different, every patient is customized, and so you need to make a separate chart for everyone. Separate chart for a kid, separate chart for a old age patient, a chart for a patient with kidney disease, a chart for a patient with diabetes, a patient with diabetes and cardiovascular problems, a person with particular drugs and Parkinson's disease and Alzheimer's disease. So everything is customized, and no two patients or no two conditions are similar. A helpline contact number for queries is a solution, which as a pharmacist you can circulate your number. Like that, be practical, list things in a simplified manner. Don't copy paste from a software or from the websites. Give references. Use SMART principle when you are talking about patient counseling. Other activities that you did in the hospital, you can put the photographs and you can mention those things here. Any value added services, the mistake was happening again and again. Say the hospital was using continuously heparin in place of low molecular weight heparin. I discussed with all the doctors, and then I gave out a presentation with evidences, and then we decided that in place of heparin we will go with enoxaparin or something like that. So that was a value added service, right? And in some patients the PPI and the H2 receptor antagonist was prescribed. Then I this was a regular scene from, because two different specialists were handling, and then I made this a point that it should not happen. So those things have made posters when the mortar pestle for powdering the tablets for nasal tube, this thing they were used without washing. And so I made a poster that said that after every use you will have to wash and sanitize that. Any health day presentation in the hospital, nurse days, discussions, and honoring a nurse for doing a good job, for avoiding a mistake, for avoiding a problem, all those things can come over here. Other activities in the community, have you conducted any camp, any service in the primary health center for the public, any public information material that you have prepared yourselves, like when the public is living in an area which is very polluted, all those things can be put over here. Any day out for a de-addiction walk, a de-addiction clinic conducted, any health screening or promotional activity, alcohol de-addiction related activities, the videos and photos can be shared here in the presentation. And the other activities at the college, seminars for juniors. When you move on to the fourth, fifth, and sixth years, you can take some small topics for the second years, third years, and you can share your experiences on taking SOAPs. How were you? What did you do? What were the mistakes that you did, and then how to correct those things? The case presentation of yours to the juniors can be done. World Health Day celebrations inside the campus, health promotion exercise inside the campus, journal club for the juniors that you organized and coordinated, the newsletter that you created and you circulated. So those things can be brought in over here. My interesting experience in the internship or clerkship or while in the hospital, you can list the interesting cases, the people whom you remember for their interactions, nurse for value addition, the caregiver experiences, inspiring clinician or your preceptor from the college. Any interesting and memorable knowledge based experience can be shared over here. So that makes more sense to this presentation. At the end, you will have to add a summary on the learnings that I learned and IM injection technique, the Tamil food chart I prepared for this many patients. For this many patients, I created videos, and all those things can be communicated here. What are your learnings? And my value additions at healthcare, for the healthcare in the last 6 years, because when people present it in 6 years, it has to be 6 years, 5 years, 5 years, 4 years, 4 years, right? So, have I taken any patent? Have I tried to do something like that? New counseling aids, any unique publications in the international journals, any new healthcare apps that have created, any health promotion aid for the society, letters to the editor, newsletter, the other courses that I completed and the skills that I have acquired, like English fluency course, a Hindi certificate, a foreign language, an IELTS or MOH preparations that which I am undergoing, computer applications or MS Office package learned, other awards or rewards received at Pharm D, best student, best publication, outstanding Pharm D student of the year from some association, like those things, and a postgraduate diploma in clinical trials or from which company, which certificate. So please try to understand, I don't suggest any additional course to be done with PharmD, because except for the language and the skill development which you need assistance, uh, because you are already adequately studying and the syllabus is covering the complete thing about the clinical trials in most of the universities, and the PCA has given a very clear uh, syllabus which covers all the things that are required for you to get into clinical trials, for you to get into pharmacovigilance, for you to get into any kind of activity that a pharmacy is to be capable of getting into, right? So I don't suggest this, but there are people who have done a PG diploma as well as PharmD, but still they are not able to crack the interview of a clinical trial company, because we don't study to acquire knowledge. We study to acquire certificates. When certificates are acquired, certificates can get us an interview ticket, not a job. So you will have to understand that attitude, skills, and knowledge, ASK, attitude, skills, and knowledge are what are important to add value to the patients, add value to the healthcare, and to grow for you in the career by adding all these values. If you just want to earn your living, PharmD is not a way of just getting you some money. So if you're focused more on money, money will run away from you. If you're focused more on the patients, their healthcare, the value addition, and how to learn and earn my skills and knowledge, and automatically you become qualified for any kind of a job. So please, you need not focus from the second year, third year itself that I want to be a clinical pharmacist, I want to get into clinical trial, I will go into pharmaceutical company, I'll go to medical writing, I'll go to medical coding. No, not like that. When you study all the 6 years in a proper manner, do more amount of researches from second year itself, take up projects yourselves, and come whenever you are asked a question, come to the front, talk to people, communication. No, shed your stage fear. Whenever you are given an opportunity, please go into the front and talk, and then try to learn as many things as possible within this 5 to 6 years. And your syllabus is complete if you are able to understand the meaning and the value addition with a 360-degree approach. Above all, the common sense and presence of mind flavors that you add to it, your Pharm D degree is it can give you a world of opportunities. I will share with you one of my experiences. In the past 5 years, I am seeing a sea change. The way clinicians are talking about PharmD today, there are many doctors who ask me when an intern do not turn up to the position on a particular day. Earlier, it was not the case. Now, sometimes they send up a prescription and say that please check for the drug interactions and then let me know, right? So these things are happening. We have to appreciate those changes. It took us 60 years to get the Pharm D acknowledged, right? We have started in 2010, and so within 20 years, within 10 years, we are now in the stage of getting accepted. But only thing is, the cow's milk, a pure cow milk, can be kept in a vessel made of dog skin and a silver vessel. Now, will you take it from the silver vessel or the vessel made from the dog skin? So am I ready as a vessel is the most important question, rather than what is filled in us. Whatever is filled in us, we have to be the right vessel first. So I have to be the vessel for the right attitude, right skills, right knowledge, and understand all these things, so that I will be a value addition. When you are going to be a value addition to a healthcare system, you can manage the entire hospital with your own skills and knowledge. Then you display leadership qualities. You will be certainly rewarded for your qualities and your knowledge. But if you don't have an expert knowledge in the area that which you have achieved a degree, just a degree is not going to help you gain any respect, because qualification is not going to qualify you for a promotion, qualify you for a recognition. It is just for the administrative purposes that you have a certificate of a degree. So having a certificate does not mean you are a PharmD. Having a certificate means that you have answered certain questions and you have become pass on a particular criteria. But that is not going to help you in the job and the in the industry, where you need to have common sense, presence of mind, and do a 360-degree approach As a manager, as you know, in human life, you play different roles, like a brother for someone, a father for someone, a neighbor for someone, a citizen for a country. Like that, as a pharmacist, you will have to play different roles over here. You cannot say, I'm a hospital pharmacist, I will not do the clinical pharmacy duty. You cannot say, I'm a clinical pharmacist, I will not do the hospital pharmacy duty. It is all interlinked. Whatever is not done in a hospital for the patient care, it is your responsibility to do. It is our responsibility to do. So now acknowledge in the last slide any specific clinician who helped you, any nurse, any teacher, any patient from whom you have learned something, from whom you learned something new or valuable. Give all your acknowledgements, and finally ask for any questions from anybody sitting in front of you, and say a heart welcome thank you to everyone. And now I thank you for all this attention, this past 50 minutes. And before I complete, I would like to give you some, again, the free advices that I told in the first. Of course, these are all very practical, and this qualifies through the SMART criteria: specific, measurable, uh, achievable, relevant, and time bound. Right. So make your presentation creative. Let it not be the same as usual. Keep the font color, font size, shape, all these things uniform for the headings, for the body, for the subheading 1 and 2. Use animations, use motion effects to highlight the learnings. The color codes are important. Don't put a rangoli and spread all colors in the slides and distract the attention of the person who is listening to it. Only bullets, no paragraph pasting. Know what you have filled in the slides fully and then start presenting it. Without having confidence, don't go and present. Before presenting it, rehearse it, and for that you will have to present more and more presentations, and try that. Present only what you did and nothing more or less, and don't copy it from others. Use pictures wherever possible. Write less and explain more. Instead of just making slides, make it more interactive and creative with features available in the PPT. Rehearse and present more cases for confidence. Use slide numbers, header, footer, auto update of time and date formatting to be done. Common sense, presence of mind, and 360-degree approach is must for a good learning. Give authentic references in Harvard or Vancouver style wherever needed, because we talk only about evidence-based medicines. Use regional language if required for a particular patient whom you have counseled or whom you have done something. You can use that and put those pictures over here. Be customized to the patient needs and no general advices. Practice empathy. Don't just vomit some advices without sense. Don't copy cases from others. It's unethical. Use abbreviations only after the first instance of using the expanded and abbreviated captions. Connect, relate, extrapolate, justify, give evidences, no stories. Highlight not just shortcomings, solutions to be presented, reasons to be assigned on every slide. Why, what, how, where, who, when kind of enquiries have to be put, and you will have to answer those things. Be present. Don't suggest pasta and tofu to a two-tier district patient as a food. Right, here it is not available in the two-tier districts, right? So we need to understand what is available. Don't suggest something which is not practical. Don't just give advices and escape. Make a chart and put a snap of the chart over here. Make a medication adherence chart for patient if required, and the snap can be added here. Make a short video of you explaining the use of an insulin pen, an inhaler, or a spacer, or a spirometer. Take some actual videos of your counseling sessions and review yourselves on mistakes, if any, and you can post those videos here in the presentation when you are making the presentation. Some live medication error or dispensing snaps and videos will also be make it lively, right? So now don't fake, present your work only. That's the key for a successful presentation. Don't copy paste any part. Plagiarism is not allowed. Make one for you spending time. Uh, it's an investment, right? By spending time, you will have to do a presentation. There is nothing like copy pasting and presenting it. Best wishes, less crowded slides, more pictures and interactives, bullet points without spelling and grammar mistakes. Rehearse, rehearse, and rehearse, and that's the key for making a good presentation. Thank you. Thanks a lot for all your patience. Hope this presentation was helpful. Please like, subscribe, and share with your friends who are in Pharm D in the second years. From the second years, probably this basic should be taught to people, and we need to understand that all these are important. While as we started it, the first slide I mentioned, 50% is the good job done, and 50% is presenting it in a proper manner. Best wishes, thanks a lot, and the best wishes for a happy and a great family future. The situations are changing, and we are having a great career ahead, but we should gear up ourselves for such kind of career opportunities. Thank you, best wishes.